a 5-year full sentence, all of which is to be served at the ACI. Is there anything that you would like to say, sir?
Nothing.
The Hells Angels Motorcycle Club built an empire on the open road, but that power faced its ultimate test behind prison walls. This is the story of 8 Hells Angels members and how the cold steel of a cell door changed their world. We explore the profound shift when the posture of outlaw power meets the justice system, transforming prisons into new battlegrounds for the notorious Ham C. 1. Jonathan John Nelson, the chapter president's fall. Born into the rugged culture of the Bay Area, Jonathan John Nelson rose to become president of the Sonoma County Charter of the Hells Angels. He stood at the command of a brotherhood where loyalty was sacred and fear was the silent currency. But on July 15, 2014, an order was carried out that would become his undoing. Nelson arranged for a club member, Joel Silva, to be taken to the Fresno clubhouse, where Brian Wendt shot him in the back of the head. The victim was cremated the next day. Years of investigations followed. In June 2022, a jury found Nelson guilty of murder in aid of racketeering, and on June 17, 2024, he was sentenced to life in prison. Imagine the moment the gavel dropped. A man once commanding chapters now handed a life sentence. For Nelson, it meant no more rides at dawn, no more patch on his back, no more unchallenged authority. The empire he helped steer was crumbling. The club's internal code didn't press pause for the courts, but the courts did press stop on his freedom. This is the origin of the 8 reactions you'll see. Power colliding with consequence. 2. Brian Wayne Wendt, the shot heard around the club. Wendt was president of the Fresno Charter of the Hells Angels. His role in the Silva murder was chilling. After Nelson arranged transport of the victim, Wendt pulled the trigger. When the sentence arrived in June 2024, it was not just Wendt's freedom at stake, it was his identity. A shot fired in anger, a head in a memorial service, a club rule broken. No one leaves the patch meant everything. Wendt's reaction? A silence that echoed through the club's world. Inside, he would know. Somebody betrayed him. Outside, the world learned, even presidents don't walk free. And his sentence? Life behind bars. Not just for murder, but for proving that no one is untouchable. 3. Russell Taylor, Rusty Ott, the veteran who couldn't outsmart the system. At 70 years old, Ott was considered a veteran among the club's ranks, an elder statesman. Yet age didn't shield him from the long arm of justice. As part of the same case, he too was handed a life sentence. His reaction? A mix of disbelief and resignation. The walls closed in, not just physically, but historically. Every badge of honor he had, every patch, every ride, now reduced to a ledger of risk. In prison, the club jacket doesn't guarantee respect, just resentment from rivals, threats from inmates, the reality of confinement. OTT's fall serves as a reminder. Longevity inside the club doesn't guarantee immunity. 4. Walter Stadnick, Canada's architect behind bars. Across the border in Canada, Stadnick was known as the man who transformed the Hells Angels into a coast-to-coast powerhouse. On September 13, 2004, he was sentenced to 20 years in prison for conspiracy to murder, drug trafficking, and gang activity. His reaction? Controlled fury. He pleaded not guilty, never admitted to being an Angels member, yet the court deemed him a hardened criminal who showed little or no hope of straightening out their lives. Inside the prison, the genius behind expansion now had time to reflect. The mark of his legacy, now written in court files and cell blocks. Stadnick shows a different kind of reaction, not the immediate rage of shooting, but the slow burn of empire built then sentenced. Long-term consequence. 5. Donald Pup Stockford, the loyal enforcer who fell. Stockford, also from Canada, was sentenced to 20 years in prison for conspiracy, narcotics trafficking, and gangsterism. His reaction? Loyalty remained, even in prison. When he was paroled, conditions were strict. Halfway house, curfews, monitoring. Even his phone bills were controlled. Inside, he learned the brutal truth. The patch may signal power, but the walls signal accountability. For Stockford, the inside reaction was one of adjustment. No rides, no club meetings, just time. For the narrative, he represents the club's middle tier. Powerful, but not untouchable. 6. Jill Trooper Mathieu, the Killers' Confederation. In Quebec, Mathieu, trooper, was a member of the elite nomads chapter of the Hells Angels. He was convicted of conspiracy to commit murder, conspiracy to traffic in narcotics and gangsterism in a major crackdown. He received a 20-year sentence. His reaction? A mix of defiance and guilt. Public records show he attempted to resign in 2009, but the parole board concluded he still maintained loyalties. Inside prison, the club's code persisted even in barred rooms. For Mathieu, the reaction was internal. The fight continued, but behind concrete. He was known for his cold discipline, rarely showing emotion even as his empire collapsed outside the walls. Fellow inmates said he carried himself like a soldier awaiting orders that would never come. He's the chapter member who tried to walk away, yet found the sentence didn't let him. 7. Michel Sky Langlois, the president behind bars. Langlois, who served as national president of the Hells Angels in Canada, was convicted for accessory to murder, 1988, drug trafficking, 1999, conspiracy to commit murder, 2015, and other charges, ultimately serving 4 years, 8 months in prison in 2018 for the last set. His reaction? A mix of corporate maestro and outlaw. He saw the club as a business of fear and expansion. His sentencing was lighter compared to others, but the reaction inside, loss of control, surrender of freedom. Langlois teaches us, not all sentences are life. But for the club, any prison term sends ripples. Behind the bars, he was known to keep his routines strict, reading business papers, maintaining order, trying to preserve the image of a man still in command. Even in confinement, he acted like a president without a kingdom, issuing advice through coded messages and loyal visitors. His calm demeanor hid a quiet truth. The man who once ruled the road was now mastering survival in a cage. 8. Sonny Barger, the iconic founder's price. No story of the Hells Angels is complete without Sonny Barger, the founding member of the Oakland chapter. In 1973, he was sentenced to 10 years to life for heroin trafficking and weapons possession. His reaction? The man who built the myth now living the myth. Prison made him part legend, part cautionary tale. Out on the street, he was invincible. Behind bars, he was vulnerable. Barger's story reminds us that even originators face consequences. Inside, he maintained his iron composure, writing letters to loyal members and shaping the club's public image from a cell. He once described prison as just another chapter in the ride, a phrase that turned punishment into prophecy. Fellow inmates said Barger carried an aura of control, as if even captivity bowed to his legend. But when the lights went out, the founder of the world's most feared motorcycle club faced the same silence as every man who thought he'd never be caught. In the world of the Hells Angels, power is earned through loyalty, fear, and defiance. But when the courtroom lights replace the roar of the engines, every man learns the same truth. The resistance that earned them their power became the chains that cost them their freedom. From Jonathan John Nelson's silent downfall to Sonny Barger's reflective imprisonment, each story reveals the same brutal paradox. Freedom was their religion, yet every one of them ended in chains. The roar of their Harleys once echoed through highways across continents. Now it's replaced by the mechanical buzz of prison gates. Behind those gates, the club's hierarchy doesn't vanish, it modifies. Presidents become symbols, and soldiers become legends. The legacy of the Hells Angels isn't written in victories or crimes, it's written in consequence. Thank you for watching. If you want to dig deeper into the biker sentences, the reaction, or the ongoing battle between organized crime and law enforcement, hit that like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments which Outlaw Club sentences should I profile next.